So in this video, you will be learning how to create these custom shapes in Adobe Photoshop. Now, this video is going to be an unedited video because I want you to see the entire workflow from start to finish. So the first thing I'm going to do right here is to create a new artboard. Okay, so I'm going to come to my move tool right here, click this and select the artboard tool. And then I'm going to click this plus sign to create a new artboard and drop my shape tool. So next up, we're going to start with this first shape right here. So I'm going to go to my shape tool. So if you're using the shape tool for the first time, you're going to see where it should be on this rectangle, right? So I'm going to take the rectangle tool and I'm going to draw this right here. Okay, now I'm going to give it, let's give it the same lemon color right here. So you come to where you have your property bar right here. You give it a feel of this. This was the color we used or something like this. Okay, now ensure it doesn't have a stroke. So I'm going to take the stroke and make it neutral. Don't want any stroke color. Right. Now, as you can see right here, the edges of this shape is curved, right? So I'm going to, now there are a couple of ways to do it, right? Now, if I take the edges, okay, of this shape right here, you see that the edges, when I point the cursor to one of the edges, you see that it has this round, dots at the edges. So I can hold it right here and just drag it. Now, if you do it like this, you see that, yes, the edges are curved, right? But you can see that in this case, all the edges are curved, but I only want the three edges to be curved, and I just want only the three edges to be curved, not the entire four edges of the rectangle. So what do I do? There are a couple of ways to do it. Okay. Now, the first thing we can do right here is that we can come to where we have the property bar right here. Okay, let's zoom out. So you come to the properties bar right here. Now you can see that right here you have this button linked together, and these are the edges. You can see that they all have a value of 59 pixels. So what I'm going to do right here is that I'm going to turn all this to first of all, I'm going to uncheck this link button right here. Then next up, I'm going to turn just this edge. I'm going to make this edge 0 pixel. So as you can see now, what happens is that the three edges of the rectangle, they are curved, but this one is pointed, right? So that's one of the ways to achieve that. Now another way to achieve this is, okay, so let me duplicate this rectangle once again, and then I'm going to make the edges all square 0. Okay, let me just come here, scroll down, change this to 0 and hit enter. Now, so we are back to where we were initially, where we have all the edges of this. Okay, so we are back to where we were initially, where we have the edges of this circle, of this shape. They are all pointed, right? So what I'm going to do right here is that I'm going to come back to this property bar, and so I have this link button checked, and I'm going to let me give it a, let's say 20 pixel, right? Now I'm going to, okay, let me increase the edge again. Let me give it a 25 pixels. Let me say, or a 30 pixels to increase the roundedness further. Then now I'm going to go to, once again, to my rectangle tool, right? Draw my rectangle. Now ensure you maintain the same fill color as the initial shape. I don't want a stroke. I'm going to give this a fill of the same lemon color. And then I'm going to drag it right here. Okay, now let me just give the feel, let me give the different feel first so that we get to see what we are doing. Right now, I'm going to take this rectangle, okay, and place it right above or beneath the other rectangle we drew earlier. Right, so, and then, okay, let me zoom out. Okay, I think this should be on top. Sorry, this should be on top, right? Good. And then I'm going to change the color back to the lemon color we used earlier. So as you can see right here, we've been able to achieve that, right? Ensure that they are both aligned. So you see, we have been able to achieve the same result. So these are the two ways you can achieve this kind of shape, right? So I can just go ahead and ensure that I group them, merge the two layers rather, and I go to mesh shapes and they become one shape. All right, so let's create this one. Let's create this shape right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my rectangle tool right here. Just draw a rectangle, something like this. Okay, I'm going to go with, let's choose a different color this time. So I'm going to go with let's go with a deep red color. Just choose any color you prefer. Let me go with this one. All right. Now, next up, before you work on any shape, right, you're going to ensure that you rasterize the shape layer. So I'm going to right click here and then click rasterize layer. Next up, I'm going to go to my polygonal lasso to here. And then I'm just going to draw something like a triangle. Now, you can hold your shift key so that your shape would be very smooth. Okay, something like this. And then you hit your delete key. Right? You can go ahead and select the filter option. Sorry, deselect and press deselect. So you can repeat the same process for the bottom. So once again, I'm going to draw my rectangle here. Let's go with this one. Draw it here. Like this. You can hold your shift key so you have a uniform triangle or something. Now hold your delete key once again. And let's deselect. So as you can see right here, I've successfully created this shape right here. So I can do something else again. I can cut this into half. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to go with my rectangular marquee tool. So I'm going to cut this into, just cut it into like this, mark this area, right? And then I can Control X to cut it and press V to drop my tool, and then can click here, Control V to paste, right? Of course, you can expand it, right? Now, if I want, I can give this one of them a gradient fill to it. Okay, so I can add a gradient fill to this. So all I need to do right here is to come down to where I have this, the FX tab right here. Click and I go to blending options, or I just go for gradient overlay straight up. Okay, right, so you can select any gradient option of your choice. So this was the previous setting I used earlier. So you can change it. So you come down to where you have, ouch, let's take that again. Gradient overlay. Okay. So I can change the color. Now, under blend mode, you can select any blend mode option of your choice, but I'm just going to leave it at normal. Then, so you come to where you have gradient. Gradient overlay right here. So select, I can change the color of this gradient right here. Let me change it to, okay, let me go with a blue color. Okay, let's go with a deep blue color, something like this. And then the other color, the stop color, the second color, I can go for something like, let's go with a bright yellow, something like this. And of course, you can also change the, you can also, okay, click OK. And of course, you can also change the style to radial, to angle, reflected, and all that. But I'm just going to leave it at linear. And voila. So this is how our shape looks. like. Okay, so next up, let's create this other rectangle shape here. It's pretty similar to the one we did earlier. So I'm going to go to my rectangle tool and draw something like this. Okay. Okay, I can make the edges. Okay, I can make the edges once again. Let me uncheck. Okay. So let me uncheck let me unlink this option. I'm going to give this side, okay, I want this edge, the top left edge to be pointed. So I'm going to leave it at 0. I'm going to make here, let's give it 25 pixels. The top right 25 pixels. Bottom right 25 pixels. So you can see we're going to achieve this. All right. So you just go ahead and tweak it to any form you want. Okay, now you can use these shapes for your projects. It's going to make your project stand out. Good. So let's draw this. Let's do this other one. Ellipse tool. So go once again to your shape tool. Take your ellipse tool. Now hold your shift key so you have a uniform shape. Draw this. Okay. Oh, do I have them on the same layers? No. Why are they on the same layers? Okay. Ctrl Z. Okay. You take your shape to ellipse tool with your shift key. Why am I having them on the same layers? What's going on? Okay, once again, let's do that. Okay, let's create a new layer. Take your shape tool, your ellipse tool, with your shift key. And just draw it like that. Let me give it a color, a lemon green color, the same color I used for this one. Let's take that. Okay, click OK. So I can duplicate this by holding Alt key, click and drag. And I'm going to give it another color. Ensure the stroke is set to none. Okay, let's go for the fill. Take our color picker tool. Let's choose this one. Click OK. Hit your shift key. Okay, I don't need that. Now it depends on the what they call it, the Photoshop version you're using. Sometimes when you hold your shift key and you try to adjust your circle, your ellipse, it kind of gives you this absurd, like, you know, it makes it to be inconsistent. So what you just do, you take your hands off the shift key, right? So it depends. I think for Photoshop 2020 and above, you don't need to hold your shift key to have a uniform ellipse, right? Okay, so once again, I can duplicate this further, and I'll have a different fill of this one. So I'm going to take this, use this color, and here, of course, I can resize it like this. I think this is cool. So I can merge all of them. I can select the 3 ellipses, and right click and go to merge shapes. Now, of course, they become, whoa, did I do this right? No. Okay, Ctrl Z. Okay, let me go for I think convert to smart object. I think that'd be better. Yeah. So they'll become one figure, one shape rather. So let's do this triangle. Now I'll show you 2 ways to draw a triangle. It depends. Okay, so sometimes I think some Photoshop versions don't have the triangle tool. I think from Photoshop, is it 2020 or something? I know they don't have this triangle tool, right? Because so if you want to draw a triangle, and of course there's a triangle tool, just hold your shift key, and of course draw a triangle. Right, so I'm just going to give it a deep blue, no stroke, and let's go with the color, this color. Now assume that there's no triangle tool in your Photoshop version. Let me show you another hack to get this done. So what you just need to do, of course, go to your shape tool and take your polygon tool. Right. Now, of course, polygon is a 5-sided figure, but let me just show you a hack to draw a triangle with your polygon tool. So when you take your polygon tool, you click once on your canvas. Now it's you're gonna see this, is it table or something, asking you the number of sides. So I'm just gonna put here 3, and then leave other settings the way they are, and then click OK. And of course, it gives you what? It gives you the same triangle. Okay, so that's for those that don't have the polygonal, that do not have the triangle tool in their versions of Photoshop. That will definitely become useful. So I'm going to change this color to, let's give it this light blue. Of course, I can rotate it. Just press Ctrl T. Then right click and go to flip vertically. Yeah, and I can hold it down like this. Click this to uncheck. I can hold both of them, select, and I can adjust it. Yeah, so you can apply these tips to your designs, projects, and try to make them really stand out. So of course, you can just tweak your shapes. Okay, you need to be familiar with the properties bar right here. So for each shape, they have different attributes right here. So I can increase the radius of the edges, make them bend further. You can see, hit enter. Right. Now I don't want this one to be curved. I want the top right to be normal, so I'll just leave it at 0. So you can see right here, this is the only one. These edges are rounded, but this one isn't. So just go ahead and play around your shape tool, the shape tool, and also the property panel right in Photoshop to tweak your shapes to any desired form you want. So I'm sure you had a ton of value from this. If you want to see part 2 of this video, where I apply these principles in actual design projects, of course, you know what to do. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ensure the notifications is turned on, and leave your questions or comments in this comment section. So if you want me to make a video on how I practically apply these strategies to design projects, let me know in the comment section, and of course I'll make that video. So thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, ensure the notifications is turned on, and see you in my next video.